What if I told you that in the next 18 minutes, something inside you could shift so deeply that you'll never look at your life the same way again? Not tomorrow, not next week, right now. Because the truth is, you're not here by accident. You clicked on this video for a reason. And whether you realize it or not, a part of you is ready for change. Maybe you've been feeling stuck, like you're capable of more, but something keeps holding you back. Maybe you've started things and didn't finish, made promises to yourself you didn't keep, or watched others move forward while you stayed in the same place. That frustration you feel, that quiet voice in your head telling you there's more for your life, that's not weakness, that's a signal. And today, you're not just going to hear motivation, you're going to feel something different, something stronger, something that stays with you long after this video ends. Because this is not about hype. This is not about temporary inspiration that fades in a few hours. This is about flipping a switch in your mindset, unlocking a level of focus, belief, and drive that most people never reach. So I need one thing from you right now, your full attention. Block out the noise, put the distractions away, and for the next 18 minutes, make a decision to show up fully for yourself. Because if you stay with me until the end, you won't just feel motivated, you'll become dangerously motivated. Clarity is not just a helpful trait, it is the force that separates hesitation from decisive action and transforms scattered effort into focused power. When the mind lacks clarity, it drifts between options, second guesses every move, and wastes energy on distractions that feel urgent but are ultimately meaningless. This confusion creates internal resistance, and even simple decisions begin to feel heavy. A person may work hard, stay busy, and still feel stuck because their direction is undefined. On the other hand, when a person becomes clear about what they truly want, something shifts at a deeper level. Their thoughts begin to organize themselves around a single purpose, and their actions start aligning naturally with that purpose. Instead of constantly asking, "What should I do next?" they move with a sense of certainty because the destination is already fixed in their mind. This clarity eliminates unnecessary choices, and with fewer choices comes less doubt, less procrastination, and more consistent progress. It sharpens focus, allowing a person to ignore distractions that do not serve their goal, and it strengthens discipline because every action now has meaning. Clarity also influences emotional strength, because when challenges arise, and they always do, a clear vision reminds a person why they started, making it easier to push through discomfort and temporary setbacks. Without clarity, obstacles feel like signs to stop. But with clarity, they are seen as part of the path forward. It becomes easier to endure difficulty when the outcome is vivid and personally significant. Clarity also builds confidence, not because the path becomes easier, but because the individual no longer doubts their direction. Even in uncertainty, they trust themselves to keep moving forward. This sense of direction creates momentum, and momentum builds belief, reinforcing the cycle of action and progress. The mind begins to filter opportunities differently, noticing chances that align with the goal while ignoring those that do not. Over time, this creates a powerful advantage because energy is no longer wasted on things that do not matter. Instead, every effort compounds toward a meaningful result. Clarity also affects how others perceive and respond, as people are naturally drawn to those who speak and act with purpose. It communicates conviction without needing explanation, and that conviction often opens doors that remain closed to those who are unsure. In essence, clarity acts as an internal command system, directing thoughts, emotions, and actions toward a defined outcome, turning potential into execution and intention into measurable results. Emotion is the force that transforms ordinary motivation into something intense, persistent, and almost impossible to ignore because logic alone rarely sustains action for long. A person may understand what they should do, they may even plan it perfectly, but without emotional involvement, their energy fades quickly and distractions take over. Emotion gives meaning to effort, and when a goal is tied to something deeply personal, such as pride, purpose, freedom, or even past pain, it stops feeling like a task and starts feeling like a necessity. This is what separates temporary bursts of motivation from a state where action becomes automatic and consistent. When emotions are strong, they override hesitation, silence doubts, and create a sense of urgency that pushes a person to act even when conditions are not ideal. The mind begins to associate the goal with identity and self-worth, making it far more difficult to quit or settle for less. Positive emotions like excitement, desire, and vision can pull a person forward, creating a clear and compelling image of what life could become, while negative emotions such as frustration, rejection, or disappointment can push a person forward by reminding them of what they refuse to experience again. Both forces, when directed properly, can be equally powerful, and the key lies in consciously connecting daily actions to these emotional drivers. Instead of relying on discipline alone, which can fluctuate, emotional intensity creates a deeper level of commitment where action feels non-negotiable. This is why some individuals continue working toward their goals even when they are tired, discouraged, or facing repeated setbacks, because their reasons are not surface level but deeply rooted in how they feel about their life and their future. Emotion also enhances focus, as the brain naturally prioritizes what carries emotional weight, filtering out distractions that do not align with that internal drive. Over time, repeated emotional reinforcement strengthens belief, and belief further amplifies motivation, creating a cycle where action, emotion, and confidence feed into each other. This process gradually reshapes behavior, turning effort into habit, and habit into identity, where the individual no longer needs external motivation because the drive comes from within. When emotion is fully aligned with purpose, it becomes a source of relentless energy that does not depend on external circumstances, allowing a person to maintain intensity and direction even in the face of uncertainty, pressure, or slow progress, driving them to act with consistency, focus, and determination beyond what logic alone could ever sustain. Belief operates as an internal blueprint that quietly directs behavior, decisions, and outcomes long before results become visible, shaping reality not through external forces, but through the way a person interprets and responds to every situation. The thoughts a person repeats consistently begin to form patterns, and those patterns gradually settle into beliefs that feel natural and unquestioned. Once a belief is established, the mind starts filtering information to support it, focusing on evidence that confirms it while ignoring anything that contradicts it. This is why two individuals can face the same circumstances yet produce completely different results, because their beliefs influence how they perceive opportunity, risk, and their own capability. When someone believes they are capable, resourceful, and deserving of success, they approach challenges with a mindset that seeks solutions rather than excuses, taking action even when the outcome is uncertain. In contrast, limiting beliefs create hesitation, self-doubt, and a tendency to withdraw at the first sign of difficulty, reinforcing the very outcomes the person fears. Over time, repeated thoughts strengthen neural pathways, making certain patterns of thinking automatic, which then influence behavior without conscious effort. This process gradually turns belief into identity, where a person no longer just thinks something occasionally, but begins to see it as a fundamental truth about who they are. Actions naturally follow identity, meaning that a person who sees themselves as disciplined will act with discipline, while someone who identifies with inconsistency will struggle to maintain effort regardless of intention. Belief also affects emotional responses, determining whether a setback is interpreted as failure or feedback, and this interpretation directly impacts persistence. When belief is strong, setbacks are seen as temporary and necessary, allowing the individual to continue moving forward without losing confidence. This creates a feedback loop where action reinforces belief, and belief encourages further action, steadily building momentum over time. The subconscious mind plays a critical role in this process by accepting repeated thoughts as instructions, influencing habits, reactions, and focus without conscious awareness. By intentionally choosing empowering thoughts and reinforcing them through repetition and action, a person can reshape their internal narrative, gradually replacing limiting patterns with ones that support growth and achievement. As belief strengthens, it alters not only internal perception but also external behavior, leading to decisions and actions that align with the desired outcome. And this alignment increases the likelihood of success because effort becomes consistent and purposeful rather than sporadic and uncertain. Pain has a unique ability to cut through illusion and force awareness in a way comfort never can, making it one of the most powerful catalysts for transformation when it is understood and directed rather than avoided. Most people instinctively try to escape discomfort, rejection, and failure, but in doing so, they often miss the hidden energy those experiences carry. Pain creates intensity, and intensity captures attention, pushing a person to confront realities they might otherwise ignore. It exposes weaknesses, highlights what is not working, and reveals the gap between where someone is and where they want to be. When approached with the right mindset, this awareness becomes valuable because it provides clarity and direction for change. Instead of seeing pain as something that stops progress, it can be reframed as a signal that growth is necessary and inevitable. The emotional weight of disappointment or struggle can create a powerful internal drive, especially when a person decides they no longer want to repeat the same experience. This decision transforms pain into fuel, giving actions a deeper meaning and urgency that is difficult to replicate through comfort alone. Pain also builds resilience, because enduring difficult moments strengthens mental endurance and increases the ability to handle future challenges with greater stability. Each obstacle faced and overcome adds a layer of confidence, reinforcing the understanding that difficulty is temporary and survivable. This shifts perspective, allowing a person to engage with challenges more constructively rather than reacting with fear or avoidance. Pain can also sharpen focus, stripping away distractions and forcing attention onto what truly matters, as trivial concerns lose importance in the presence of something more intense. Over time, this focus can lead to disciplined action, as the individual becomes more committed to changing their situation and less willing to tolerate habits or environments that contribute to their discomfort. The key lies in how pain is interpreted, because if it is seen as purely negative, it can lead to discouragement and withdrawal. But if it is viewed as a source of information and motivation, it becomes a tool for progress. This shift in interpretation allows a person to channel emotional energy into constructive effort, rather than letting it turn into frustration or self-doubt. By consciously choosing to learn from difficult experiences and using them as a foundation for improvement, a person can convert setbacks into stepping stones, gradually building strength, awareness, and determination that would be difficult to develop in the absence of challenge. Persistence is the disciplined repetition of effort over time, and it often proves more decisive than talent because talent without consistency fades, while consistent action steadily compounds into skill, experience, and results. Many people overestimate the importance of natural ability and underestimate how much progress is driven by sustained effort, especially when that effort continues beyond the point where most others stop. Talent may provide an early advantage, making initial steps feel easier or progress appear faster, but it does not guarantee long-term success if it is not supported by regular, focused work. In contrast, persistence builds competence through repetition, allowing a person to improve gradually even if they start at an average or below average level. Each attempt, whether successful or not, contributes to learning, refining technique, and strengthening understanding, which over time can surpass those who rely solely on their natural gifts. Persistence also plays a critical role in overcoming obstacles because challenges are inevitable in any meaningful pursuit, and the ability to continue despite difficulty often determines the outcome more than initial capability. When a person persists, they develop resilience, learning to adapt, adjust, and try different approaches rather than giving up at the first sign of resistance. This adaptability increases the chances of finding effective solutions, turning setbacks into opportunities for growth rather than reasons to quit. Consistent effort also builds momentum, and momentum creates a psychological advantage as progress, even small progress, reinforces motivation and belief, making it easier to continue. Over time, this cycle of action and improvement becomes self-sustaining, reducing the reliance on external motivation or short bursts of inspiration. Persistence also strengthens discipline, as repeated action conditions the mind to follow through regardless of mood or temporary discomfort, creating habits that support long-term goals. These habits reduce decision fatigue because actions become automatic rather than requiring constant willpower. Additionally, persistence influences how others perceive and respond, as consistent effort often earns trust, respect, and opportunities that are not given to those who show inconsistent commitment. It signals reliability and determination, qualities that are highly valued in any field. While talent may attract attention initially, it is persistence that sustains progress and leads to meaningful achievement, because it ensures that effort continues long enough for improvement to occur, for opportunities to be recognized, and for goals to be reached through steady, deliberate action repeated over time. Decisive action is the turning point where intention stops being abstract and begins to shape reality, because until a decision is followed by movement, nothing truly changes. Many people remain stuck not because they lack ideas or ambition, but because they hesitate at the moment action is required, overanalyzing possibilities, waiting for certainty, or fearing the consequences of making the wrong choice. This hesitation creates delay, and delay weakens momentum, allowing doubt to grow stronger over time. In contrast, when a person acts decisively, even in the presence of uncertainty, they create immediate progress and begin to gather real-world feedback that thinking alone can never provide. Action clarifies what works and what does not, turning unknowns into information that can be used to adjust and improve. This process builds confidence, not because every action leads to success, but because the individual proves to themselves that they are capable of moving forward regardless of imperfect conditions. Decisive action also disrupts fear, because fear thrives in inaction and imagination, often exaggerating risks that feel overwhelming until they are confronted directly. Once a step is taken, the mind shifts from speculation to engagement, reducing anxiety and increasing focus on practical solutions. Acting with certainty does not require having all the answers. It requires committing to a direction and trusting the ability to adapt along the way. This commitment creates a sense of control, as progress becomes the result of deliberate effort rather than external circumstances. Decisive individuals tend to move faster, not because they rush blindly, but because they avoid unnecessary delays and continuously refine their approach through experience. Over time, this speed of execution becomes a significant advantage, allowing them to capitalize on opportunities before they disappear. Action also influences identity, as repeated decisive behavior reinforces the self-image of someone who takes initiative and follows through, making future decisions easier and more natural. This creates a reinforcing cycle where action builds confidence and confidence encourages further action. In addition, decisive movement signals intent to others, often attracting support, collaboration, or opportunities that would not appear for someone who remains passive. It demonstrates seriousness and commitment, qualities that inspire trust and engagement. While planning and thinking have their place, they only become valuable when translated into execution, because results are produced through actions, not ideas. And the willingness to act despite uncertainty is what ultimately transforms potential into tangible outcomes and measurable progress. What you've just experienced is not just a collection of ideas, but a complete shift in how you see yourself, your potential, and the actions required to move forward. Clarity gives you direction, so your energy is no longer scattered. Emotion fuels your drive, so your actions carry intensity and meaning. Belief reshapes your identity, so you begin to act in alignment with the person you are becoming. Pain transforms into power when you stop resisting it and start using it as fuel for growth. Persistence ensures that you keep moving long enough for results to appear, regardless of how difficult the journey becomes. And decisive action is the force that turns all of this into reality, because without action, even the strongest mindset remains unused potential. When these elements come together, something powerful happens. You stop waiting, you stop doubting, and you start becoming someone who moves with purpose, discipline, and certainty. This is where ordinary motivation ends and something far more dangerous begins, a state where excuses lose their grip, fear loses its control, and your focus becomes so strong that progress is no longer optional but inevitable. Thank you for giving your time and attention to this message, and may you move forward with strength, clarity, and unwavering determination. Good luck on your journey ahead. Make it count, because what you do next truly matters.